The black orchid on my desk wasn't a gift. It was a death sentence. 16 years ago, I ran from Wei Chen with his child growing inside me, building an empire in America while he ruled Seoul's underworld. Now he's found me. He knows about Sophie, and the two men who just forced me into this car are proof that my past doesn't forgive. Wei's voice came through the phone like poison. Hello, beloved wife. I know about her daughter. You have 24 hours to bring her to me, along with half your fortune, or I'll take her myself. The line went dead, and I realized the girl I'd spent 16 years protecting was about to become a pawn in a game I thought I'd escaped. Now I hope you're ready for this thriller. Please take a second to hit the like and subscribe button to support the channel churning out more beautiful stories for your pleasure. Thank you, lovelies. Now let's go see what happens next. The black orchid sat on Kira Lee's desk like a beautiful threat. She stared at it through the floor-to-ceiling windows of her corner office, the Los Angeles skyline fading into dusk behind her reflection. At 55, she had spent 16 years building an empire that made her untouchable. The delicate black petals mocked that illusion. No card, no explanation, just the flower she had found that morning, placed carefully on top of her closed laptop. Kira's hands trembled as she reached out to touch the velvet petals. Black orchids had been Wei's signature. He used to fill the bedroom with them after particularly violent nights, as if beauty could erase brutality. She had not seen one in 16 years, not since the night she fled Seoul, 3 months pregnant and terrified. Kira Lee was not her real name. She had been born Mye-sung in Korea, and when she married Wei Chen, she became Wei Chen. For 3 years, she had been trapped in Wei's world as he rose through the ranks of the Crimson Dragon Syndicate. The organization controlled significant portions of Seoul's underworld, their reach extending into drugs, gambling, weapons, and human trafficking. Wei had been ruthless, brilliant, and utterly possessive of everything he considered his, especially her. When Mie discovered her pregnancy, something fierce had awakened inside her. She would not raise her child in that world of blood and violence. So she had run with fake papers and a new identity, becoming Kira Lee the moment her plane touched down in Los Angeles. Wei had never known about the pregnancy. Her daughter Sophie was 15 now, bright and innocent, with no knowledge of her father's existence or her mother's past. Ms. Lee, your car is waiting downstairs. Emma Rodriguez's voice came through the intercom, pulling Kira from dark memories. Your 4 o'clock meeting is at the Millennium Biltmore downtown. Kira slid the black orchid into her desk drawer and gathered her briefcase. Silver streaked through her black hair, which she wore in an elegant chignon. Fine lines marked her face, badges of survival and success. She smoothed her Armani suit and headed for the elevator. The meeting was with potential investors for her latest project, a historic building conversion in the Arts District. It ran long, the investors asking detailed questions about projected returns and timeline. By the time Kira emerged from the Biltmore, the sun had set and downtown LA was awash in neon and streetlights. Her driver Marcus usually picked her up, but he had called in sick that morning. The replacement driver was someone from the company's pool, unfamiliar but verified by her assistant. The black Mercedes waited at the curb, engine running. Kira slid in the back seat, already mentally reviewing tomorrow's schedule. She barely registered the car, pulling away from the curb before the locks clicked shut with an ominous finality. The driver was not alone. 2 men materialized from the front passenger seat and the space behind her with practiced efficiency. Both were Asian, dressed in expensive suits, their movements professional and coordinated. Before Kira could scream or reach for her phone, one of them had his hand clamped over her mouth. Mrs. Chun, the man said in Korean, his voice calm and businesslike. Please don't struggle. We're not here to hurt you, just to deliver a message. The second man held up a phone, the screen illuminated. He pressed it to her ear as the first man slowly removed his hand from her mouth. Kira's heart hammered against her ribs. She knew who would be on the other end before she heard his voice. Hello, beloved wife. Wei's voice, smooth as poison and achingly familiar, made her blood freeze. Did you receive my gift? Kira's fingers dug into the leather seat. We were never legally married, Wei, and I left that life 16 years ago. His laugh was cold and possessive. Legal documents mean nothing. You are mine, mie. You have always been mine. And now I've found you, finally. It took resources and patience, but here we are. I'm home. This is my life now. I'm not the girl you knew in Seoul. No, you've become quite the businesswoman. Very impressive what you've built, my clever wife. A fortune worth a lot of millions, I'm told. And you've been living this life of luxury while I remained in Korea. His voice turned sharper. 16 years, Mia. 16 years I searched for you. That's a betrayal that requires consequences. You taught me what monsters look like, Kira shot back, her voice shaking with fury rather than fear. And I survived despite you, not because of you. The car continued driving through downtown, the two men silent and watchful. Kira realized they were circling blocks, keeping her contained but not taking her anywhere. This was a demonstration of power, not a kidnapping. Not yet. Such fire, Wei said, and she could hear the smile in his voice. I've missed that spirit. But Mia, there's something else you've been keeping from me. Something far more valuable than money. Kira's stomach dropped. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't insult my intelligence. I know about Sophie. I know I have a daughter. A 15-year-old daughter you've hidden from me all these years. His voice was steel-wrapped in silk. You denied me the chance to know my own child. That, beloved, is unforgivable. Terror lanced through Kira's chest. Stay away from her. She's nothing to do with you. She's everything to do with me. She's my blood, my legacy, and you will bring her to me, or I will take her myself. I'll never let you near her. We'll see. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to return to me. You're going to acknowledge me as Sophie's father. And you're going to transfer half of your considerable wealth to me as recompense for the years you stole from us. You want my money? The absurdity almost made Kira laugh. You run a criminal empire. What do you need my money for? Consider it payment for services rendered. I made you who you are, taught you to be strong and ruthless. Everything you've built started with lessons learned at my side. I'm simply claiming what's owed to me. Wei's voice dropped to something darker. But mostly, I want you to understand that everything you have, including your daughter, belongs to me. I can take it all away whenever I choose. The money is just a symbol of your submission. Go to hell. Wei laughed, genuinely amused. My men are going to let you go now. Consider this a courtesy call, a warning that things are about to change. I'm coming to Los Angeles, Mia. We're going to be a family again, whether you like it or not. And if you try to run, if you try to hide Sophie from me, I will make sure you regret it. I have resources everywhere. There's nowhere you can go that I can't reach. The line went dead. The man holding the phone nodded to his companion. The car pulled to a stop in front of Kira's office building. The locks clicked open. Mrs. Chun, the first man said in Korean, bowing as she stepped out. Kira exited the car on shaking legs, her briefcase clutched in white-knuckled hands. The Mercedes drove away smoothly, disappearing into downtown traffic. She stood on the sidewalk for a long moment, her mind racing through the implications. Wei had found her after 16 years. He knew about Sophie, and he wanted money, control, and his family back. The Black Orchid had been the opening move. This encounter was the next escalation. What came after that terrified her. Sophie, her daughter, was in danger. Wei would not stop until he had them both under his control. Kira pulled out her phone with trembling hands. She could not go to the police. Wei had connections everywhere. Going official would only alert him to her defensive moves and potentially put more people in danger. She needed private security, professional protection with no official ties. Her mind clicked through options, contacts, recommendations she had heard from other business associates who valued discretion. Sentinel Security Solutions. The name came to her from a conversation months ago with another real estate developer who had faced threats from a disgruntled contractor. The developer had praised them effusively, particularly their owner, a former military specialist who apparently had extensive combat experience. Kira pulled up the company website on her phone. Sentinel Security Solutions specialized in high-risk personal protection, corporate security, and threat assessment. Their credentials were impressive. Their discretion was guaranteed. And most importantly, they had no connections to traditional law enforcement. She dialed the number, her heart still racing from the encounter. A professional female voice answered on the second ring. Sentinel Security Solutions. How may I direct your call? I need personal protection. Immediately. I'm willing to pay whatever it costs for your best person. There was a brief pause, the sound of typing. May I have your name and the nature of the threat, please? Kali. I'm a real estate developer in Los Angeles. The threat is international organized crime. I was just intercepted and threatened by members of a Korean syndicate. I need someone who can handle that level of danger. More typing. Then the voice became more focused. Ms. Lee, I'm going to transfer you to our operations manager. Please hold. Classical music played for 30 seconds before a male voice came on the line, deep and authoritative. Ms. Lee, this is James Martinez, operations manager for Sentinel. I understand you've received credible threats from organized crime. Can you tell me more about the situation? Kira gave him a condensed version, leaving out the most personal details but conveying the seriousness of the threat. Martinez listened without interruption, asking occasional clarifying questions. I can have someone at your location within the hour, Martinez said when she finished. Given the profile you've described, I'm assigning Malik Washington. He's former Army Rangers with extensive experience in high-risk protection details. He also has background in construction and structural security, which may be relevant if threats extend to your business properties. Can he start tonight? I have a 15-year-old daughter. Her safety is my primary concern. Understood. Malik will meet you at your office within the hour to assess the situation and implement immediate security measures. Please, the rate will be sent to your email. Given the international organized crime element, I'd recommend a minimum 2-week contract to start, with options to extend. The price was steep, but Kira did not hesitate. Done. I'll wire the retainer tonight. How soon can he be here? I'm texting him now. Expect him within 45 minutes. Kira ended the call and leaned against her building's exterior wall, drawing deep breaths to calm herself. She needed to check on Sophie, needed to hear her daughter's voice to confirm she was safe. The phone rang 4 times before Sophie answered, pop music playing in the background. Hey, Mom, what's up? Isuat. Just checking in. How's homework going? Ugh, it's calculus. My brain is melting. When are you coming home? The normalcy of Sophie's complaint nearly broke Kira's composure. Her daughter was safe, oblivious, living the innocent teenage life Kira had sacrificed everything to give her. Soon. I have a late meeting, but I'll be home in a few hours. Did you eat dinner? I ordered sushi. There's some left if you want it. Thanks, honey. I'll see you later. Love you. Love you too, Mom. Kira ended the call and returned to her office, her mind already planning the conversation she would need to have with Sophie. At some point, she would have to tell her daughter the truth. But not tonight. Tonight was about establishing protection, about building walls between Wei and everything she had built. 40 minutes later, Emma buzzed her office. Ms. Lee, there's a Malik Washington here to see you. He says you're expecting him. Send him in. The man who entered her office commanded immediate attention. Tall and broad-shouldered, he moved with the controlled grace of someone whose body was a weapon. He appeared to be in his late 20s, with rich dark skin and dark eyes that assessed everything in an instant. He wore dark tactical pants and a fitted black shirt that revealed a muscular build. A small earpiece was visible in his left ear. But it was not just his physical presence that caught Kira off guard. There was something in the way he carried himself, a quiet confidence that radiated safety and strength. When their eyes met, Kira felt an unexpected flutter in her chest, a pull of attraction she had not experienced in years. She found herself noticing details she had no business noticing. The strong line of his jaw, the width of his shoulders, The way his voice, deep and measured, seemed to wrap around her like a protective embrace. He was young enough to be her son, yet something about him made her feel more alive, more aware of herself as a woman than she had felt in over a decade. The thought both thrilled and terrified her. This was not the time for inappropriate attractions. She was hiring him to save her life and protect her daughter, not to satisfy some long-dormant need for connection. Yet as he settled into the chair across from her desk, his dark eyes holding hers with unwavering focus, Kira could not shake the feeling that this man was going to change her life in ways that went far beyond professional protection. "Ms. Lee, I'm Malik Washington from Sentinel Security." He extended his hand. His grip was firm and warm, confident without being aggressive. "I understand you've received credible threats that require immediate protection." Kira gestured to the chair across from her desk. "Thank you for coming so quickly. The situation is complicated. I specialize in complicated." Malik sat, his posture alert but relaxed. "Why don't you start from the beginning and tell me what we're dealing with?" Kira studied him for a moment. She would be trusting this man with her life and Sophie's safety. She needed to know he could handle the truth. "Before I explain, I need to know your background." Martinez mentioned Army Rangers. 6 years active duty, 3 tours in Afghanistan, specialized in high-value target protection and tactical operations. After discharge, I worked private security in conflict zones before returning to the States and starting with Sentinel 2 years ago. I've handled protection details for corporate executives, foreign dignitaries, and witnesses in organized crime cases. I know how these organizations operate. This particular organization is the Crimson Dragon Syndicate, based in Seoul, but with international operations. Have you heard of them? Malik's expression remained neutral, but something sharpened in his eyes. "I'm familiar with their reputation. Drug trafficking, weapons smuggling, human trafficking, protection rackets. They're sophisticated and ruthless. What's your connection to them?" Kira took a deep breath, preparing to expose the truth she had buried for 16 years. 16 years ago, I was someone else. My name was Mie Sung, and when I married Wei Chen, I became Wei Chen. Wei is a high-ranking member of the Crimson Dragon Syndicate. I left him when I was 3 months pregnant and came to America with a new identity. He never knew about the pregnancy. She paused, watching for judgment or shock in Malik's expression. He showed neither, simply listening with focused attention. "My daughter Sophie is 15 now. She knows nothing about her father or my past. I've spent 16 years building a legitimate life, staying off Wei's radar. But he's found me. Tonight, his men intercepted me after a meeting. They put me on a phone with Wei. He knows about Sophie now, and he wants us both back. He also wants half of my wealth as payment for what he claims I stole from him." "Does he know your daughter's location?" "Her school?" "Not yet, but it's only a matter of time. If he's found me, he'll find her. He said he's coming to Los Angeles. I need Sophie protected immediately, and I need security comprehensive enough that he can't reach either of us." Malik leaned forward slightly. "I need to be clear about something, Ms. Lee. Protecting you from a sophisticated international crime syndicate is not a simple job. We're not just talking about bodyguard work. This will require comprehensive security overhaul, constant vigilance, and eventually a strategy to neutralize the threat permanently. Are you prepared for that level of disruption to your life?" "I'm prepared to do whatever it takes to protect my daughter." "Then we start now. I'll need complete access to your schedule, your properties, information about your routines, and your daughter's routines. I'll be with you 24/7 until the immediate threat is assessed and proper security protocols are in place. That means I'll be staying in your home, accompanying you to all meetings and site visits, essentially becoming your shadow." The thought of this man in her home, constantly present, sent an unexpected flutter through Kira's chest. She pushed the feeling aside. This was about survival, not whatever inappropriate awareness she felt towards someone young enough to be her son. "I have a guest room. You can stay there. When can you start?" "I started the moment I walked through your door." Malik pulled out his phone. "I'm calling my team to begin immediate security assessment of your residence and your daughter's school. We'll upgrade locks, install additional cameras, establish perimeter surveillance. Basic measures will be in place by tomorrow morning. What about tonight? Tonight, I drive you home, assess your residence security, and position myself between your family and any potential threats. Tomorrow, we'll discuss long-term strategy. But Ms. Lee, there's something you need to understand. If Wei Chen has the resources you described, fortifications are only part of the solution. Eventually, we'll need to address the threat at its source. What does that mean? It means at some point, we'll need to make Wei back off permanently, either through leverage, legal exposure, or other means. Hiding behind better security is temporary. The permanent solution requires eliminating his ability or desire to reach you. Kira finished her drink, feeling the burn down her throat. One step at a time, Mr. Washington. First, keep me and Sophie safe. Then we can discuss permanent solutions. Fair enough. And please call me Malik. If I'm going to be living in your home and protecting your family, we should probably skip the formalities. Then call me Kira. Malik stood, his presence somehow filling the office. Kira, I need you to gather anything important from your office. We're leaving in 5 minutes. From now on, we minimize predictable routines and vulnerable locations. Your driver, the one who called in sick, I'll need his information. I want to verify his illness was legitimate and not coerced. The thought that Marcus might have been compromised sent fresh fear through Kira. You think they got to him? I think Wei has significant resources and has been planning this. We don't assume anything is coincidence until proven otherwise. Kira gathered her belongings, her mind racing through implications. Malik positioned himself by the door, eyes scanning the corridor before allowing her to exit. In the elevator, he stood between her and the doors, his body a shield. The gesture should have felt suffocating, but instead Kira found it oddly comforting. Where's your car? Malik asked as they exited the building. In the underground garage. We'll take my truck tonight. Starting tomorrow, we'll vary your transportation. Predictable patterns are vulnerabilities. Malik's truck was a black Ford F-150, clearly customized with additional security features. He opened the passenger door for her, checking the interior before allowing her to enter. Once they were moving, his eyes constantly scanned mirrors and surrounding traffic. Tell me about your daughter, Malik said as they drove towards Century City. Her routines, her school, her friends. Anything that might represent a vulnerability. Kira described Sophie's life, the private school she attended, her small circle of friends, her love of art and music. Speaking about her daughter made the danger feel more real and more terrifying. She's innocent in all this, Kira said quietly. Everything I've done for 16 years has been to keep her separate from Wei's world. If he touches her, if he taints her life with that darkness, I'll never forgive myself. That won't happen. Malik's voice carried absolute certainty. Sophie will stay safe. That's my job now, and I don't fail. The confidence in his tone made Kira turn to study his profile. You seem very sure of yourself. In my line of work, doubt gets people killed. I assess threats, create solutions, and execute with precision. Wei Chen might have resources and patience, but I have training and motivation, and I'm very good at what I do. They pulled into Kira's building, and Malik insisted on using the front entrance despite the inconvenience. He accompanied her through the lobby, noting security cameras and guard positions. In the elevator, the confined space made Kira acutely aware of his size and presence. He smelled like clean soap and something masculine that made her pulse quicken in ways she tried to ignore. The elevator opened directly into her penthouse. Sophie was sprawled on the living room couch, textbooks spread around her, earbuds in. She looked up when they entered, her eyes widening at the sight of Malik. She pulled out her earbuds, a smile spreading across her face. Mom, you're home. And who's this? Kira had prepared a story during the drive. Sophie, this is Malik Washington. He's a security consultant who'll be helping with some safety upgrades for our building. He'll be staying in the guest room for a while while we implement new systems." Sophie stood, suddenly self-conscious about her sweatpants and messy hair. Nice to meet you." "Nice to meet you too, Sophie. Your mom talks about you constantly." Malik's serious expression softened into an easy smile that transformed his face. "She does? That's embarrassing." Sophie shot Kira a look that promised questions later. "Well, I'll just get back to my homework." "Nice meeting you, Malik." After Sophie retreated to her bedroom, Malik did a methodical assessment of the penthouse. He checked every window, every door, every access point. Kira watched him work, impressed by his thoroughness. "You have beautiful views, but significant vulnerabilities," Malik said, examining the floor-to-ceiling windows. "These make you visible from multiple angles. The balcony lock is inadequate. Building security is decent, but not sufficient for the threat level we're facing. What do you recommend?" "Complete security overhaul. Smart glass for windows that can be tinted for privacy. Upgraded locks and reinforced entry points. Camera systems with facial recognition. Panic room conversion, probably in your master closet. And my presence 24/7 until the threat is neutralized." The reality of her new life settled over Kira like a weight. No more privacy, no more normal routines, constant vigilance. But looking at Sophie's closed bedroom door, she knew it was worth it. Whatever it took to keep her daughter safe. How quickly can this be implemented? Basic measures by tomorrow morning. Complete system in 3 to 5 days. Malik turned from the windows to face her. "But Kira, we need to be realistic. This is a sophisticated threat with international reach. Security upgrades buy us time and create obstacles, but the long-term solution requires more than better locks." "I know." Kira poured herself another drink, exhaustion and fear finally catching up with her. "But right now, time is what I need. Time to plan, time to figure out Wei's next move, time to protect Sophie before he makes his move." "Then that's what I'll give you." Malik's dark eyes held hers. "I promise you, Kira, whatever Wei throws at us, we'll be ready. You're not alone in this anymore." The words, simple and direct, nearly broke Kira's composure. For years she had carried this burden alone, made every decision in isolation, trusted no one completely. Now this man, this stranger she had known for less than 2 hours, was offering partnership and protection. "Thank you," she said quietly. "Don't thank me yet. We haven't even started the hard part." Malik checked his phone. "My team is already running background on Wei's current operations and known associates. Tomorrow we'll have a clearer picture of what we're dealing with. For tonight, try to get some rest. I'll be in the guest room if you need anything, but I'll also be monitoring the security feeds." Kira showed him to the guest room, acutely aware of how close it was to her own bedroom. After he closed the door, she checked on Sophie one more time. Her daughter was sprawled across her bed, headphones back in, completely safe and unaware of the danger circling their lives. In her own room, Kira stood at the windows overlooking the city lights. Somewhere out there, Wei was planning his next move. The Black Orchid had been a greeting. The phone call had been a warning. What came next would be the real test. But for the first time in 16 years, she was not facing it alone. Malik was down the hall, alert and armed, a shield between her family and the past. The thought should not have been as comforting as it was. Should not have made her feel things she had no business feeling for a man 27 years her junior. Kira climbed into bed, but sleep was elusive, her mind replaying Wei's voice on the phone, the casual menace in his words, the threat to take Sophie and her money. The next morning arrived with brilliant California sunshine. Kira found Malik in the kitchen, already dressed and alert, coffee brewing. He looked like he had not slept much. "Morning. How do you take your coffee?" he asked. "Black, 2 sugars." Kira accepted the mug gratefully. "Did you sleep?" "Enough. I'm used to functioning on minimal rest." Malik leaned against the counter, his eyes sharp despite the early hour. "I've been reviewing the building's security footage. No suspicious activity overnight, but I want to upgrade the surveillance before Sophie leaves for school." Sophie emerged from her bedroom, still in pajamas, her hair a sleepy mess. She stopped short when she saw Malik in the kitchen, a slow smile spreading across her face. "Good morning. You're still here." "I'll be here for a while," Malik said. "Your mom and I have a lot of security protocols to implement." Sophie poured herself orange juice, studying Malik with undisguised curiosity. "So what exactly does a security consultant do? Is it like being a bodyguard?" "Similar. I assess vulnerabilities, create protection strategies, and make sure threats don't reach my clients." "Threats? What kind of threats?" Sophie turned to Kira, concern replacing curiosity. "Mom, is something wrong? Like really wrong?" Kira exchanged a glance with Malik. She needed to tell Sophie something, enough to keep her alert without terrifying her. "Sophie, sit down. We need to talk." Her daughter's expression shifted to worry as she took a seat at the kitchen island. Kira sat beside her, choosing her words carefully. "You know, I don't talk much about my past, about where I came from, or what my life was like before you were born. You said you came from Korea, that Dad died before I was born, and that you started your business from nothing." Sophie's voice was cautious. "Was that not true?" "Parts of it were true. I did come from Korea, and I did build my business from nothing. But your father didn't die, Sophie. I left him before he knew I was pregnant, because he was a dangerous man involved in things I couldn't let you be part of." Sophie's eyes widened. "What kind of things?" "Organized crime. Your father, Wei Chen, is involved with a Korean criminal organization. He's powerful and dangerous. I escaped 16 years ago to give you a better life, a safe life away from that world. But he's found us now. That's why Malik is here, to keep us both safe." Sophie processed this information, her expression cycling through shock and fear. "So my whole life has been a lie? My father's alive, and he's a criminal. I was protecting you, sweetheart. You were safe as long as he didn't know you existed. I gave you 15 years of normal childhood. But now he knows?" Sophie's voice was small. "Yes, he knows about you, and he's demanding that I bring you to him, along with half of my money. That's not going to happen, but it means we need to be very careful. Malik is going to arrange additional security for you at school, and you need to tell me immediately if you see anything unusual. Strange cars, people watching you, anything that feels off." "I am scared, Mom." Kira pulled her daughter into a tight embrace. "I know, baby, but we're going to get through this. Malik is very good at what he does." "We'll keep you safe, Sophie," Malik added. "I promise you that." Over the next few days, Malik's team implemented comprehensive security upgrades. A female operative named Jessica was positioned at Sophie's school, posing as a new art teacher's assistant. Sophie adjusted to her new reality with surprising resilience, though Kira caught her daughter watching the news nervously. The first attempt came on the fourth day. Kira was touring her downtown construction site, Malik close beside her when the scaffolding collapsed. Workers scattered with shouts of alarm as metal poles and wooden planks crashed down. Malik grabbed Kira and pulled her back against the building wall, his body shielding hers as debris rained around them. His body covered hers completely, one hand cradling the back of her head, the other braced against the wall above her as debris crashed down inches from where they stood. Kira's face was pressed against his chest, and she could feel the rapid thunder of his heartbeat, could smell the clean scent of his cologne mixed with something purely masculine. His breath was warm against her hair as he murmured, "I've got you. You're safe." The words sent an unexpected shiver through her that had nothing to do with fear. When the noise finally stopped and Malik slowly pulled back to look down at her, his dark eyes searching her face with an intensity that stole her breath, Kira realized her hands were clutching his shirt, holding on to him like he was the only solid thing in a world gone chaotic. For a long moment, neither moved. Malik's thumb brushed across her cheek, wiping away dust, but the gesture felt intimate, tender. His gaze dropped to her lips for just a fraction of a second before he seemed to catch himself. "Are you hurt?" he asked, his voice rougher than usual. Kira shook her head, unable to find words. acutely aware that his arms were still around her, that his body was still pressed against hers, that something real had just shifted between them. This was no longer just a professional relationship, if it ever had been. And from the way Malik was looking at her, the heat in his eyes despite his professional demeanor, he felt it too. The collapse missed them by inches. "Everyone okay?" Malik called out, still covering Kira with his frame. Workers emerged from cover, shaken but unharmed. The foreman rushed over, his face pale with shock. "I don't understand. That scaffolding was inspected yesterday. It was solid." Malik released Kira carefully, his eyes scanning the structure and surrounding buildings. "Where's the inspection report?" The foreman retrieved it from the site office. Malik examined it closely, then looked up at the collapsed scaffolding with professional assessment. "This wasn't an accident. Look at these support joints. They've been deliberately weakened. Someone cut through the bolts halfway, just enough that weight and vibration would cause catastrophic failure." Kira's blood ran cold. "Wei, almost certainly. This was designed to look like an accident, but the timing was too precise. Someone's feeding them information about your schedule." The second attempt came 2 days later. Kira was leaving a business dinner at an upscale restaurant in Beverly Hills, Malik walking slightly ahead to clear their path to the valet stand. A black sedan jumped the curb, accelerating directly toward them. Malik reacted with explosive speed. He grabbed Kira and dove between two parked cars as the sedan roared past, missing them by feet. The vehicle screeched around the corner and disappeared into traffic before anyone could react. Kira lay on the pavement, Malik's body covering hers protectively, her heart hammering against her ribs. Around them, restaurant patrons screamed and scattered. "Are you hurt?" Malik's voice was urgent in her ear. "No, I'm okay." But she was not okay. She was terrified. Malik helped her up, his hands steadying her. "That's it. We're leaving Los Angeles. Tonight. We can't just run. We're not running. We're relocating to a more defensible position while my team investigates the leak and develops a counter-strategy." His dark eyes blazed with protective fury. "He's getting too close, Kira. I won't risk you or Sophie by staying here where he has the advantage. Where would we go? Do you have any property outside the city? Anywhere remote, somewhere we can control access?" Kira's mind raced through her portfolio. "I have a cabin in Big Bear. It's isolated at the end of a private road, surrounded by forest. I rarely use it. Perfect. We leave tonight. Pack for you and Sophie, essentials only." They returned to the penthouse to find Sophie doing homework. Kira told her daughter they were taking an extended trip to the mountain cabin. "How long will we be gone?" Sophie asked. "A few weeks at least. You'll do schoolwork remotely." "Because of my father?" "Yes, sweetheart. Because of him." Sophie nodded, her jaw setting with determination. "Then let's go." They left Los Angeles under cover of darkness, Malik driving with Kira in the passenger seat and Sophie in the back. A second vehicle followed with two of Malik's team members, Marcus and David. The drive took 2 hours, winding mountain roads leading them higher. The cabin appeared in their headlights like a refuge. 2 stories of weathered wood and stone, surrounded by towering pines, it sat at the end of a gravel road with no neighbors for miles. Malik's team swept the cabin thoroughly before allowing them inside. The interior was rustic but comfortable, with a large stone fireplace, exposed beam ceilings, and windows overlooking the forest. "Sophie, you take the bedroom on the left," Kira directed. After Sophie disappeared upstairs, exhausted from stress and the late drive, Malik did another perimeter check while Kira built a fire. Marcus and David positioned themselves in strategic locations around the property. When Malik returned, securing the door, Kira turned to him from where she knelt by the fireplace. "Thank you for everything, for saving my life twice, for protecting Sophie, for uprooting everything to hide in the mountains with us. This is my job, Kira. It feels like more than a job." She stood, brushing ash from her hands. "The way you look at me sometimes, the way you position yourself between me and every threat. That's not just professional. Malik's expression shifted, something raw and honest replacing his usual professional mask. He crossed the room until he stood inches from her. I'm just going my job, Ma. He did not say more. Instead, he reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away, and cupped her face in his hands. His dark eyes searched hers, asking a question. Kira answered by rising on her toes and closing the distance between them. The kiss was electric. Malik's lips were warm and firm against hers, tasting of coffee and something uniquely him. His hand slid from her face to her waist, pulling her closer. Kira's fingers tangled in his shirt, holding on as the world tilted beneath her feet. I shouldn't have done that, he whispered, breaking away from her. I wanted you to, Kira replied, just as quietly. You're my client. This breaks every professional rule I have. Then maybe I should fire you. She pulled back enough to meet his eyes. So you can kiss me again without guilt. Malik's laugh was soft and surprised. You're serious. I'm terrified, actually. You're 27 years younger than me. This situation is creating feelings that might not survive reality. But Malik, when you kissed me just now, I felt alive in ways I haven't in 16 years. So yes, I'm serious. He studied her face, his hands still on her waist. Kira, I need you to understand something. Why I feel for you isn't because of the danger or adrenaline. I've protected dozens of clients in life or death situations. This is different. How? Because you're fierce and brilliant and you've survived impossible things. Because you look at me like I'm more than just hired protection. Because when I pulled you away from that scaffolding, when I threw myself in front of that car, my only thought was keeping you safe. Not because it's my job, but because the idea of you being hurt was unbearable. His confession made Kira's throat tight. I'm scared to trust this. Scared that when Wei is dealt with and life returns to normal, you'll realize I'm just a 55-year-old woman with baggage. And I'm a 28-year-old former soldier with PTSD and scars from 3 tours in hell. We're both damaged, Kira. But maybe that's why this works. He kissed her again, slower this time, deeper. Kira melted into him, her hands moving from his shirt to his shoulders, feeling the solid muscle beneath. Malik's arms wrapped around her completely, holding her like she was precious and fragile and strong all at once. When they parted, Kira was trembling. We should talk about this. About what it means, about the age difference, about Sophie. Later, Malik murmured, pressing kisses along her jaw. Right now, I just want to hold you. To feel you safe in my arms and know that you're here, alive with me. They moved to the couch, Malik pulling Kira down beside him. She curled into his side, her head on his chest, listening to his heartbeat. His arms wrapped around her, one hand stroking her hair gently. This is nice, Kira said softly. Just being held. I haven't had this in so long. You deserve it. You deserve to feel safe and cherished and protected. They sat in comfortable silence, the fire crackling, the mountain quiet around them. Eventually, Kira spoke. When this is over, when Wei is dealt with and Sophie is safe, will you stay? Or will you move on to the next client, the next job? Malik tilted her chin up to meet his eyes. Kira, I meant what I said. This isn't just a job anymore. When this is over, if you'll have me, I want to see where this goes. You and me and whatever future we can build together. Even though I'm old enough to be your mother. Even though. Especially because you're you. Age is just a number, Kira. What matters is this. He pressed his hand over her heart. What I feel here when I'm with you. That's real, regardless of how many years separate us. She smiled. Okay, when this is over, we'll see where this goes. I can work with that. They stayed on the couch until the fire burned low, talking about everything and nothing. Malik shared stories from his military days, the brothers he had lost, and the ones who had survived. Kira talked about building her business, the lonely years of raising Sophie alone, the constant fear of Wei finding them. You're the strongest person I've ever met, Malik said when she finished. You escaped an impossible situation, built an empire from nothing, raised an amazing daughter. That takes more courage than any battlefield. I didn't feel courageous. I felt terrified every single day. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's acting despite fear. You did that for 16 years. That's extraordinary. Eventually, exhaustion caught up with them both. Malik insisted on doing a final security check before they retired. When he returned, Kira was waiting at the bottom of the stairs. "Good night, Malik." He pulled her close for one more kiss, this one tender and sweet. "Good night, Kira. Sleep well. I'll be listening if you need anything." Kira climbed the stairs feeling lighter than she had in days. In her room, she stood at the window overlooking the dark forest. Somewhere out there, Wei was still a threat. But inside this cabin, she had found something unexpected. Hope, connection, the possibility of love. She climbed into bed, and for the first time since the black orchid had appeared on her desk, she slept peacefully. The peaceful interlude lasted 3 more days. On the 4th morning, Sophie woke up with severe stomach cramps. She had been dealing with irregular periods, and this one hit hard. By mid-morning, she was pale and clearly in pain, curled up on the couch with a heating pad. "Mom, I'm out of my prescription pain medication," Sophie said, wincing as another cramp hit. "I left it at home when we packed in a hurry." Kira checked the medicine cabinet, finding only basic over-the-counter options that she knew wouldn't be strong enough for Sophie's condition. "The pharmacy in town should have it. I'll call and have them prepare a refill. Can someone go get it? These cramps are killing me." Kira looked at her daughter's pale, pained face and made a decision. "I'll go. I need to pick up some groceries anyway. We're running low on fresh produce." Malik immediately shook his head. "Send Marcus. You stay here where it's secure." "Malik, it's a small mountain town. The pharmacy and grocery store are on the main street in broad daylight. Besides, I'm going stir-crazy in this cabin." Kira touched his arm. 20 minutes. In and out. I don't like it." Malik's jaw was tight with tension. "Then have Marcus come with me." 2 sets of eyes, added security. "Sophie needs her medication now, not an hour from now." Malik studied her face, clearly wrestling with the decision. Finally, he nodded reluctantly. "Fine. But Marcus doesn't let you out of his sight for even a second. You go to the pharmacy, then the grocery store, then straight back. And you text me every 10 minutes. Deal." Kira kissed his cheek and grabbed her purse. Marcus was already preparing, checking his weapon and earpiece. "Ready when you are, Ms. Lee." The drive into town took 15 minutes. Kira texted Malik when they arrived, then headed into the pharmacy while Marcus stayed close, his eyes constantly scanning their surroundings. "Good morning, Ms. Lee," the pharmacist greeted her. "I have Sophie's prescription ready." While she waited, Kira browsed the aisles, picking up a few additional items. Marcus positioned himself near the entrance with clear sight lines. "All set," the pharmacist said, handing over the medication bag. They walked 2 blocks to the grocery store, Marcus maintaining professional vigilance. Inside the modest local market, Kira grabbed a basket and moved through the aisles efficiently. Marcus stayed within sight, but gave her space to shop. Kira was reaching for milk in the back dairy section when she sensed movement behind her. Before she could turn, a hand clamped over her mouth and a strong arm wrapped around her waist, yanking her backward. She tried to scream, to fight, but a second attacker pressed something chemical-soaked against her nose. The sickly sweet smell made her head swim. She heard Marcus shout, heard running footsteps and the sound of a violent struggle. She tried to stay conscious, tried to fight, but the chloroform was pulling her under into darkness. Back at the cabin, Malik checked his watch. 25 minutes since Kira's last text. He called her phone, straight to voicemail. He immediately called Marcus. No answer. Alarm exploded through him. He grabbed his weapons and gear, already moving. "Sophie." His voice was sharp with urgency. The teenager appeared from her room. "What's wrong?" "Stay here. Lock the doors. Don't open them for anyone but me or David. Understand?" Sophie's face went pale. "Where's my mom? I'm going to find her. I promise." He was out the door within seconds. His phone rang. Unknown number. Mr. Washington. Wei's voice was smooth and satisfied. I believe I have something of yours. Malik's hands tightened on the steering wheel as he drove toward town. If you hurt her, I need her alive, so she's quite safe. For now, we're just having a conversation about financial arrangements. Wei paused. Your man Marcus put up quite a fight. He's alive, but unconscious. My men had to be forceful. Where is she? Somewhere we can talk privately. I'll be in touch. The line went dead. Malik reached town and found chaos at the grocery store. Police, ambulance, Marcus being treated for a head wound. Which direction? Malik demanded. Black van, heading east, Marcus said groggily. Maybe 10 minutes ago. Malik was already calling Agent Morrison. Vaitianis Minkop Kiali. I need federal response now. Within minutes, coordination was underway. Malik pulled up tracking data, analyzing routes and destinations. Warehouse district near San Bernardino. That's where he'd take her. He drove fast, coordinating with Morrison's team. When he reached the warehouse area, he spotted the black van outside an isolated building. FBI is 5 minutes out, Morrison said over the phone. I'm going in now. Wei could move her or worse. Malik grabbed his gear and approached on foot, using shadows for cover. When consciousness returned, Kira's head throbbed viciously. She was in a warehouse, zip-tied to a metal chair. Wei Chen stepped into the light, looking older but still sharp in his expensive suit. Mia, it's been a long time. What do you want, Wei? Money. All of it. $250 million. He began pacing. The Crimson Dragon Syndicate is in civil war. A man named Han Suk is destroying everything I built. I need capital to fight back, and you're going to provide it. I'll never give you a cent. Wei showed her a photo of Sophie at the cabin. My men are watching her. One call and they take her. Or you transfer the money and everyone lives. You have 1 hour to decide. He walked away, leaving her with 2 armed guards. Kira worked at the zip ties, ignoring the pain as plastic cut into her wrists. Time crawled by. Then she heard something outside. A faint sound. The guards tensed. One moved toward the door to investigate. Suddenly, the lights went out. Gunfire erupted in the darkness. Muzzle flashes illuminated chaos. The remaining guard near Kira fired wildly at shadows. Then silence. A hand touched her shoulder. It's me. Stay quiet. Malik's voice. He cut her zip ties and pulled her up. Stay behind me. They moved through the darkness, Malik navigating with night vision. Behind them, Wei shouted in Korean, rallying his men. More gunfire, but this time, coordinated tactical fire answered back. FBI breach team. Emergency lighting kicked in, bathing everything in red. Wei spotted them across the warehouse floor. Mia, you're not leaving. He raised a pistol, aiming at Malik. Malik pushed Kira aside and returned fire. The shot hit Wei in the chest, dropping him. FBI agents swarmed in, securing the scene. Agent Morrison approached. Wei's critical but alive. He'll face trial. Paramedics checked Kira for injuries while FBI processed the scene. Malik stayed close, his hand never leaving hers. It's over, he told her. Wei's men are in custody. You're safe. 2 hours later, at the hospital where Wei was in surgery, Morrison found them in the waiting room. Wei didn't make it. He coded on the table. They tried to revive him, but his injuries were too severe. Kira felt a strange mix of emotions. Relief. Closure. Finality. So it's really over. It's really over. Korean authorities are moving against both factions of the syndicate. Within days, the organization will be dismantled completely. They drove back to the cabin as evening fell. Sophie ran out when they arrived, throwing herself into Kira's arms. Mom, are you okay? I'm fine, sweetheart. Malik found me. Wei is gone. It's finally over. Sophie hugged them both. So we're safe? Really safe. Really safe, Malik confirmed. That evening, after Sophie went to bed, Malik and Kira sat on the porch under the stars. I've been thinking, Malik said, about what comes next for us. What are you thinking? I'm thinking I don't want this to be temporary. I don't want to go back to just being your security consultant. He turned to face her. Kira, these past weeks have shown me what matters. It's not the job or the adrenaline. It's you. It's Sophie. It's this family we've become. Malik, I know I'm 27 years younger than you. I know people will judge. I don't care. He took her hands. I love you. I'm in love with you. I want to build a life with you and Sophie. I want to be your dad and your partner and wake up next to you every morning. Tears filled Kira's eyes. I love you too. I tried to tell myself it was just a situation. But it's real. You're real. This is real. Then let's make it official. Malik pulled a small velvet box from his pocket. I bought this 2 weeks ago. I've been carrying it around, waiting for the right moment. He opened it, revealing a simple diamond ring. Kira Lee, will you marry me? Kira didn't hesitate. Yes, absolutely yes. He slipped the ring on her finger and kissed her deeply. Through the window, they heard Sophie cheer. Were you listening? Kira called out, laughing. Maybe, but I'm happy so you can't be mad. The three of them spent that evening planning their future. They would return to Los Angeles. Malik would start his own security firm. Kira would continue building her empire. Sophie would finish high school surrounded by normalcy and love. Wei Chen was dead. The Crimson Dragon Syndicate was finished. The threat that had haunted Kira for 16 years was finally, permanently gone. As Kira sat on the porch with Malik's arms around her and Sophie's laughter drifting from inside, she felt something she hadn't felt in decades. Complete, unshakable peace. She was free. She was loved. She was safe. And she was finally, truly home. 3 months later, they stood together in their Los Angeles penthouse, boxes unpacked, lives settling into a new normal. Sophie was thriving at school, Malik's security firm was launching, and Kira's business empire continued to grow. The past would always be part of their story, but it no longer defined their future. Kira Washington looked at her fiancé and daughter, at the life they were building together, and smiled. This was what freedom looked like. This was what love felt like. This was what home meant. And it was more beautiful than anything she had ever dared to dream possible.